Elena,
Yeah.
you mentioned you've hit on this in a couple different ways over the course of this discussion, but I just want to sort of loop back around to the challenge of older, more mature professionals who are in the job search process. I heard you mention the importance of storytelling, and talking about your strengths and how do you storytell around that. And I also heard you mention the importance of people leveraging their strengths, stability, whatever those things are. I was just wondering if you might say just a few words about the strategy around an older sort of slash mature worker in the job market in the interview process.
Um, yeah, so I would say, I mean, a couple of different things, I guess. Understanding the company culture, that's probably step number one. Understanding the company culture, one, for yourself, make sure that you would be, because you can, like, how to say it, like, you can fake it till you make it type thing, but if you're going to be miserable in a particular company culture, it's not even worth putting your best foot forward sometimes, right? So I
Mhm.
think just number one, just understanding the company culture, and if it does sound like a company you want to work for and so on, uh, understanding how to position yourself with them in a way that sells to them. And sometimes it's pointing out the obvious, right? Like, um, again, if I'm like, go back to the example of somebody, if I ask somebody who's, been in a particular company for 15 years, and I say, how have you managed change? For something like that. And they would say, um, and I would just really point out a couple of things. Like one, I have a lot of experience, and some things that I've learned along those is that change in event, and I'm just making things up, guys, but change is inevitable. And so one of the things that I've really learned is like how much learning about X, Y, and Z has um so like technology, for example, that's a big thing for a lot of people right now, right? Like that's a big thing. So um talking about how you have been staying on top of a particular industry. So incorporate, again, like it's hard without a specific example, but if you have like a specific role and you know what's hot and trendy in that market right now, being able to tell your story of how you're staying up to date. And when you understand the company culture, when you know what you bring to the table, speaking around, and again, like, I mean, honestly, if I'm being transparent with you, there's going to be times where sadly some companies, they won't care if you're going to stay long or not. So this is why I'm saying, like, I think a lot of it is like goes back to the kind of companies you're applying for, because it's, you got to choose the company that's going to see that value. And here, you got to know who you're talking to. And sometimes you might be a great candidate, but they just don't operate they just want somebody who is going to come in and grind for a couple of years and move on. So
Mhm.
that's why I keep going back to, like, you doing the homework, making sure you're applying at the right places. And then as long as you're confident in telling your story and how you keeping up with whatever technology they're implementing, whatever things they're doing. But honestly, for more seasoned professionals, networking and building relationships and people knowing your character and all of those things, I think that's going to take you further. Now I feel like I'm just rambling on, but it's a hard question to answer without a specific scenario, but I hope at least it gives some
Yep.
answers.
Yep. Thanks.